less time. So we shall be beginning a third unit today. And in the second unit, you had personality, you had perception, we discussed attitudes. So today we would be starting unit 3, in which we have motivation. So I would be starting with motivation, and we would like to cover one theory of motivation today. So if I talk about motivation, what, like we all say that we should motivate our friends and we should get motivated. So what does this motivation actually means? I mean, what does this include? Any idea? Just in generally, if you think, when you say, when you try to motivate any of your friends, what do you actually do? Hamza Mashood, Afra Malik, any idea?
Yes, ma'am.
To
Ma'am,
Ji,
motivation can be giving a push up to someone to do something, to do a particular task or anything.
can you please repeat, Afra? I missed few words.
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, motivation is about giving a push up to someone to do a particular task or a thing
Okay,
which the person finds difficult.
that's good. Yes, yes. Okay. Yes, Hamza, you were saying something?
The main purpose was just to give him hope rather being hopeless.
Okay, okay. Waqas, were you saying anything? Or I thought
Ma'am,
so.
so motivate is like to help someone to achieve their potential.
Okay, okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's very good. So you all are right. When we motivate someone, we are trying to, like Afra say, we are trying to push the person ahead. We are trying to give a person some hope, and then that hope is given in the lights of the goal, right, Hamza? The goals which the person is trying to fulfill, what hope is attached to those goals, right? And Waqas, like you mentioned, that we also we try to persuade the person. It is important to help him find some motive. So if we say motivation could be a process which accounts, which is the whole of any individual's intensity of performance or direction, which is provided to the person. And one other thing which is important is persistence, that how much persistence there is of his efforts. So these three words are there. Let me share my screen. I have prepared a slide, a quick slide, which okay, give me a second. Okay, is the slide visible?
yes, ma'am.
And it's
Yes,
changing
ma'am.
to,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, fine. So we can use three words: this intensity, direction, and persistence. So when we talk about intensity, the intensity describes how hard a person tries. How, wait a minute, please. Your friends. Okay. How hard a person is trying, how this is the element most of us focus on when we are talking about motivation, that we are like the push which Afra you talked about. So that is important. It comes under intensity, that how much a person is trying hard. All right. Then however, high intensity is unlikely uh, to lead to a favorable job performance outcomes. It is not that if you are having high intensity, so it will always lead to a favorable job performance. Only it is possible when your intensity is linked with direction. Okay, when you are trying hard, but when you have a particular direction, then it becomes more meaningful. So because that benefits the whole organization. We can talk about our individual goals, but since we are discussing the organizational behavior, we would like to more focus on organizational goals. So therefore the quality of the effort as well as intensity is should be linked to the goals directly. Then comes persistence. So finally motivation has a persistence dimension as well. This persistence measures how long a person can maintain the effort. Okay, like if he's trying hard and if he has a direction also, but for how long he can go on. Maybe he starts feeling fatigued, bored, and maybe he loses interest. So this is what persistence means, that how long a person can maintain the effort. You all must have heard of that story where the ant tries to climb the wall, right? So falls and then starts climbing, then falls, then starts climbing. So we call it like persistence, perseverance. The commitment of a person comes into play at that time. Okay, is anything you want to add or anything coming to your mind? Any example? It's good till here? Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay. I won't be spending more time on Maslow's theory or theory X and theory Y, but just to remind you, we studied this in concepts and Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory and the theory X and theory Y. I hope you all remember that. In case you have any you can again go through these, and in case you and like to ask anything, you are most welcome. So today I would like to move on to a more interesting theory, a higher theory than Maslow's and theory X and theory Y, equity theory. See, I would like to start equity theory with an example. Okay, so try to understand this example. Consider any friend, like any person. For example, let's take Rahul. Okay, so let's suppose that Rahul has graduated from a very prestigious college, and he has a degree, let's say, in accounting. Okay, and after interviews with a number of organizations on campus, maybe he has been able to receive a position, a good position in an accounting firm, and he was assigned a good position in that firm. He joins. Rahul is very pleased that he has received this offer. He finds his job very challenging, and he's happy that he's working in a prestigious firm. He can tell his friends, he can tell family, relatives, and of course, he thinks that it is also an excellent opportunity uh, to gain experience. Maybe if he wants to change the company in future, he holds experience, or maybe for promotion in the same company, he is after all gaining experience. And also he thinks that he has been able to grab a very high salary since he had maybe accounting major in his course, and he has received accounting job finally. So so Rahul is happy, and he is happy with his job, with his salary, with the challenging job and a prestigious firm. Okay, so he's working. Now, what happens that maybe a year later, um, another employee joins this same organization. Okay, although Rahul has been working very hard, he has been able to prove himself and he has been able to satisfy himself and also the organization with his work, with his performance. So he's doing a good job. So this point is to be noted as well. Now, what happens? Another person joins the organization after a year or so, and that person is completely new and has completed his course, his university, maybe this year only, and he has been placed at a post maybe better than Rahul, or maybe same as Rahul, and he is getting higher pay than Rahul. Okay, so now we need to see the story from this angle, that how Rahul would be feeling. Rahul feels upset. He is thinking about another job. He thinks that I have spent 1 year here and he was so happy that he's been valued. But just because a new person, a fresh graduate has entered who lacks experience, and on top, in spite of that, he has gained more salary. So you have understood the example? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now,
Yes, sir.
okay. Now we need. Okay. Now let's. We need to empathize. Let's consider ourselves as Rahul. Okay. So now Rahul's situation would illustrate the role that equity plays in motivation. Okay. We are focusing on equity. Now, how equity plays an important role in motivation. See, employees perceive what they get from a job situation, whether it is salary, whether it is other raises, or whether those are perks, or whether those are incentives, in relation to what effort they are putting in. Now, what are the put into, and then they compare this outcome input ratio. What they are getting from a job is output, salary, raises, recognition, and they are in relation to what they are putting into the job, their input, effort, experience, their education, their competence, their behavior, their commitment, their effort. All this is input. So they try to compare their outcome input ratio with other person. Now, who is this other person? We call it. We call that person as a referent, because those are the relevant others who matters to us. For example, if I would compare myself, I would be comparing myself with some young colleagues, maybe not with very senior professors. So we need to have a relevant people whom we would be comparing ourselves. So same situation is with Rahul also. He or us in a similar situation. We have relevant others. So we compare outcome input ratio with that of relevant others who are also in the same level or with same experience, or more or less in the same atmosphere, okay, with same qualification. All right. So if we perceive that our ratio is equal to that of other, for example, if my outcome input ratio is equal to that of X, I would be in a state of equity. Okay, I would be very satisfied, I would be happy, I would perceive that my situation is very fair, very just, and justice prevails. So there would be equity. But when we would see that the ratio is unequal, maybe my output input outcome input, or you may say output input ratio is more than others, or it is less than others, then we start feeling unequal, then we start feeling unrewarded, and we experience there is equity tension, and that of course creates anger or irritation or unhappiness or unsatisfaction. Clear? Clear till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, like I
Excuse
have
me, ma'am.
written, Gigi. Yes, who is
Uh,
this?
ma'am, smart.
जी उस्मान बताइए.
But ma'am, it may also cause as an act of motivation for the new person who joined the organization. I mean,
हाँ
he
बिल्कुल
is
बिल्कुल,
getting.
ही विल फील ओवर रिवॉर्डेड डेफिनेटली.
Yes,
अब
yes,
हम राहुल को इमेजिन कर रहे हैं, आप उसको छोड़ के आप उसको भी इमेजिन कर सकते हैं जिसको लिया गया और हैज रिसीव्ड अ हायर पे, राइट.
yes, ma'am. So it's
आप
kind of
हाँ
reference.
हाँ
I mean,
हाँ
to
हाँ
whom we are
बिल्कुल
talking about.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. आप जिसको चाहें एम्पथाइज कर सकते हैं इस वक्त जो हम डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं, है ना. बिकॉज हम दोनों एग्जाम्पल्स लेंगे, वी वुड बी डिस्कसिंग अबाउट ओवर रिवॉर्ड एज वेल एज अंडर रिवॉर्ड. वो एग्जाम्पल लेंगे तो भी ठीक है, और अगर राहुल का एग्जाम्पल लेंगे तो भी ठीक है, राइट. Okay. So now let's see. I have mentioned that there are four different comparisons. For example, we can make four different comparisons. One could be self-insight. Now, what does the self-insight means? This means that an employee is comparing himself with another employee in the current organization, but at a different position, because at one position I am placed at a different position. So an employee is comparing himself with the other person in the same organization. Okay. Self outside means that an employee experiences a situation, or he is in a position which he is comparing with an employee outside the current his current organization. For example, if I compare myself with any other assistant professor who is maybe working at DU or maybe Jamia Millia Islamia, right? Understand? So this is what this means: self outside. An employee's experiences in a situation or position outside the employee's current organization. So when I compare myself with somebody who is maybe working at DU or JMI, so maybe I would feel that I'm better off, or maybe I would feel that maybe they are better off. So this is what equity means when we are comparing ourselves with some other person. Now, other insight. It means that another individual or group of individuals inside the employee's organization. That I am comparing myself with another individual or group of individuals inside my own organization. Okay. And other outside, it means that another individual or maybe group of individuals outside the employee's organization. Okay, I would share the details of this so that in case there's any confusion, you can read what does this mean. And if you have any question about it, you can always ask. So basically, these are the different comparisons with which one makes. Now we need to focus more on this thing that employees might compare themselves to friends, to neighbors, to co-workers, or maybe to colleagues in other organizations, or maybe they can compare their present job with past job, right? They can also compare that maybe earlier I was assistant, now I am at a better position. So this is also important, that with whom the person is comparing himself. And employees compare themselves at their own levels, like I mentioned. For example, employees with short tenure, if somebody have a short tenure in their current organization, they tend to have very little information about others who are inside the same organization. So what they would do, they would rely on their personal experiences. They don't have enough information about their colleagues or people inside their own organization, but they are trying to make their opinion on the basis of their personal experiences. Similarly, if we see employees who have a long tenure, maybe in a current organization, then they rely more heavily on co-workers for comparison, because they have been working since long, so maybe they have more expectations from the organization, so they tend to compare themselves more with the co-workers. Now, for example, upper level employees, there are also upper level employees, they are directors, they are CEOs, they are presidents, vice presidents. So if we talk about upper level employees, those in like those ranks of employees, they have more education, they have more experience, they have better information about people. So they usually compare themselves with other outside, that any individual outside the employee's organization, for example, CEO of company X would compare himself with CEO of company Y, right? Because he's at such a top level that he may not have any other employee at the same level in the same organization, so he has to compare himself with CEO or vice president, or maybe directors of other organization, how they are performing, right? Is that making sense?
Ma'am, so in other inside and other outside, we don't consider ourselves, only the other people.
Yes, but we are yes, because but ultimately we are comparing ourselves. So other inside means other individual inside employee organization, right? Because it is the comparisons that are made, so these comparisons are made by us only.
Okay.
Okay, so other outside, when I'm talking about these people who are at the upper level employees, they are making other outside comparison. They are comparing themselves, but they are comparing themselves with other people who are outside their organization. है ना? They may be comparing, if he is a CEO, he is comparing himself with other CEO outside his current organization. ठीक है? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, another important aspect in the equity theory is that, okay, we have 10 more minutes. Um, so, on the basis of this comparison, okay, when people compare themselves with others and at a different position inside a current organization, or at a same position at a current organization, or with people outside the organization, so they tend to change their behavior. Now, how they perceive inequity, and how they make choices, and how they change their behavior to maybe overcome that inequity. Some people, so this based on equity theory, employees who perceive inequity will make one of these six choices, because they are facing inequity, they are experiencing inequity, so they will make one of these choices. First is change inputs. Okay, so for example, if somebody feels that he is underpaid, okay, so now if he is underpaid, he would not be very happy. Okay, so he would start exerting less effort. He would start exerting less effort if he feels that he is underpaid. And if he would feel that I'm overpaid, then he would start exerting more effort, that, oh, I am being paid more, so I should work harder. But if he would think that, okay, I'm also maybe I'm doing more job, but still they are paying me less, so why do so much hard work? So let's put in less efforts. Anyway, they are giving me this amount of money. They're not going to, increase it. So they change inputs. So we need to see all these six in both the aspects. Okay, so change inputs. People may put less efforts if they feel they are underpaid, or they may put more effort if they feel that they're overpaid. Second thing which they could do is they can change outcomes. Now, we talked about piece rate basis in the concepts of management. So you all know piece rate basis. So we can take that example, that individuals paid on a piece rate basis, they can increase their pay. They can increase their pay by producing a higher quantity of units, right? So they can change outcomes. They can try to prepare more pieces and earn more, but they may compromise on quality. It may happen. They may compromise on quality in the race to produce more pieces and earn more, right? It could be vice versa. It could be the other way also. They could decrease the outcome if they feel that they are paid less. They may decrease more if it is not a piece rate basis. Okay. Then distort perceptions of self that maybe I used to think that I worked at a at a at a moderate pace, at a good pace. But now I realize I work a lot harder than everyone else. So person is having a distort perceptions of self. The person is started thinking that oh, I work so much harder than other people, but still I am getting less pay. It could be other way also, right? Then distort perceptions of others. I may have an opinion about somebody's job. Okay, because when we see somebody is, for example, at a high position, we think, oh, it's all good. So, but later I may come to know that no, it's not so. He's under a lot of stress. He has so much workload. He works till 12 midnight. So, distort perceptions of others, I may start thinking that, oh, his job is not as desirable as I thought. I may be feeling that, oh, I'm better off. So I may start working better at my own level, at my own job, at my workplace. Okay. Then fifth is choose a different referent. Okay, this is the best one could do. Choose a different referent. Maybe if, for example, if in our field, okay, in academics, research papers are important and people publish research papers. So maybe I see some of my colleagues who are publishing a lot of research papers. So I may not be very happy about it. But if I choose a different referent who do not have that much publications, then I may feel better. Okay, then I may feel better. I may feel that, okay, I'm also doing fairly good, and okay, it takes time to write paper and all, it's okay. So I may feel better. Or for example, we compare ourselves with our cousins, or with maybe relatives. So in that case also, we may think that, okay, I may not be able to earn as person X or Y, or I may not be able to, to reach that position in a company as person X or Y has reached, but I am doing a lot better than a person Z. Fine, fair enough, right? So it's
Yes.
that one could choose a different referent and be happier. And the sixth choice which a person could take up is that leave the field. If he is very upset about the inequity or injustice, or the rewards being given to him, then he may leave the field. So we have a little more of this theory ahead, but I would like to stop here because that would take another 10 minutes. So I can start that tomorrow. So anything which is not clear till here? No? Everything is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you were a little apprehensive about self inside and self outside. I can tell again that, for example, self inside is employee's experience. Okay, we are talking about a person's experience in a different position inside the employee's current organization. For example, if somebody is for example, assistant. Okay, so what would he feel about being placed at a different position, maybe senior assistant? Okay, so employees experience in a different position inside his current organization, but his position is changed. So that is how he can compare in the same organization. And self outside is when employees experiences in a situation or position outside the employee's current organization, when he is imagining himself at another position in any other organization. Okay, so it's all clear, it's all good. Let me take the attendance in case anybody has any example to share or any idea to share. You are most welcome. Ashish, Atiq, Aisha, anything you would like to share? Mohit, any such experience where any of your relative had faced this kind of situation of equity, inequity? No?
Yes, ma'am. There is situation in my sister's company.
Mm-hmm.
So she's having only 3 years experience, but the people with whom she works are at a senior level from her, but uh, because of a internal hike system kind of there, she is having more salary than those people. So
Okay.
there was this problem that she used to feel a bit motivated because of
Okay. And what about
this
other?
self,
Did
and the
did
others.
she face any? I mean, uh, did she realize any other person's change in behavior?
No, ma'am, there was not a change in behavior, but one of our senior changed their company for a better increment.
Okay.
So that also must have gave them motivation to change this
Okay.
organization.
So when your sister feels that she is overpaid or she feels that she is earning better than others, so does she put in more efforts?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. So that is what we discussed about change inputs. When a person feels inequity, when he feels that he is overpaid or he is well paid, then the person exerts more efforts to justify his salary, right? Good,
Yes, ma'am.
good, good. Okay, so you can go through this, think about it, and we will continue from here tomorrow. And in case you have any doubts or any examples, we can continue tomorrow. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
All.
Thank
Thank
you, ma'am.
Thank